trails up here on Kauai. There's plenty of hiking up there. There's a nice paved road, so even if you don't want to hike, if you just want to go drive up and check out the lookout, take pictures, it's a really nice way to spend the day. And you can pit stop in the town of Waimea too, which is right there at the foot of the hill, and check out their little shops and whatever eateries they've got there. Now let's see, one more thing and I'll get you back to the music. We've got a lot of wide open space on this side of the island. You can see the vast expanses of green hillsides. This is all old sugarcane land. And the Robinson family is the owner of this land that's over here to our right. Robinsons are the largest individual landowner on Kauai. They own about 13% of the island. And their land extends from the coast right through here all the way up to the summit of the island, a little under 6,000 feet. We were the ones producing sugarcane most recently here on Kauai. They finally shut down their sugar industry in 2009. Up until that point, that mill we're just slowing the boat down for a sec here so that the crew can work their way around with a little appetizer. 20 to 200 dolphins. They've got this little group over here to our right. They're about 4 to 6 feet long.
There's a little one.
Yeah, those are little ones, aren't they?
And they have a routine, their favorite kind of food, which is the various small fish and squid out there. All that type of stuff rises up towards the surface at night. And so these dolphins take advantage of that movement and they hunt at night. Once the daytime rolls around, the food goes down deeper in the ocean. These guys come in close to shore and go into their alpha state, which is like their version of sleep.
They're right behind us now, aren't they?
Half their brain's awake during that time, but half of their brain is resting, alpha state. They might be in an alpha state right now, in fact. Are they up there on the bow? Behind us a little bit. Okay. Well, we're gonna you know what we're gonna do? We're actually gonna clear the trampolines for this next leg. We're about to come into a little bit of a headwind. It's gonna be more bouncy, gang. So get somewhere where you're comfortable. Try not to walk around the boat too much if you can avoid it through this next leg, because it will be more difficult to move around safely.
I should go get my sea
Comfortable
pants.
spot. The Nepali, those dramatic cliffs, reside on the northwest side of our island. So this side of the island gets the giant surf in winter that you might have heard about, famous Hawaiian surf. We've got these famous surf contests that you'd see. The surf can range in size from a small winter day where there's waves with 10-foot faces up to the biggest day of the year. You can have up to 50-foot faces. Wow. Yeah, it's really mind-boggling. So all that heavy surf is generated by swells that travel thousands of miles from storms way up in the far North Pacific. I mentioned that earlier. Storms up by Alaska. The kind of storms that you see in the show Deadliest Catch.
Some ginger ale.
So those conditions that
you can see is a very
find that this type of a remote and high-sided valley, the protection it offered these folks was exactly what they were going for, and so people lived out here. The folks of the area were well known for making a natural fiber rope called Senate rope, and that rope was perfect for marine applications. You know, the rope went through the process of being wet and dry and wet again. It would become very tight and very strong. It was good for lashings on the canoes. And the folks here that made the rope would trade it with the whalers who would come to these islands in the midst of their long whaling voyages from New England. These days, Villa Lidi is a campground. It's one of 4 on the coast. It's unique from the other 3 in that there's no coastal access trail to this particular beach. People have to get in here just by boat, and they do that in the summer months. Pretty much, just the summer. Once winter rolls around, we start to get the northwest swells that hit this side of the island full on, and it can be a little trickier to get in here by boat. Now the other 3 campsites, they're all located kind of clustered together the far northern end of the cliffs, and they're all located along the Kauai Trail. Now, of course, this we've got the little bay of Kauai located over here to the right. One thing you can make out for sure is the little red and white signs that are on the beach there at our 3 o'clock position. Those are known as range marker signs. There's 2 signs, and as you make your way down to the north, keep your eyes over there, you'll see that at a certain point they look like they're lined up, like they're one continuous sign, right about there. So if you wanted to do a beach landing, you'd be out here, you'd line the 2 signs up, and then you head straight for them. And that gives you the proper heading to avoid the coral reef that's kind of shallow on either side of the channel there. So that's how you do your beach landing. The coral reef shelf that resides here at Kauai is the most well-developed reef shelf of the entire Nepali. It's the only one like it. You can see it maybe to the right now. There's some surf breaking on the outer edge. And then it looks like the ocean kind of gets real calm and flat beyond the surf. It's just maybe a couple feet deep, the water inside the surf there. A reef like this, it's like the start of the food chain. And for these early Hawaiians living on the coast, they zeroed in on this area as being really the prime spot to live in, because you could fish the reef really easily. They didn't have a lot of agricultural land, so they also devised a rope ladder system that allowed them to scale the sheer cliff there at the left end of the beach. And by getting up the cliff, they could then get around the headland and access the next valley over. And then they is the Marquesas Islanders, and they made their mark there at the beach of Kauai. And the archaeologists did carbon dating, and they learned about them in that way. So the Marquesas Islanders, they're from an island nation that's down in the southern hemisphere, a little bit west of us. They came right around between 6 and 900 AD. They made their mark there, and then there's another wave of people about 300 years later. That was the Tahitians. Tahiti is also in the southern hemisphere, but it's straight south of us. They came, and they were a little bit different type of culture. You know, they had a more complex culture. They actually were more warlike. And it didn't take long for the Tahitians to take over when they got here. They created a caste system where the Tahitians were the ruling class and the Marquesas Islanders were the common class. Eventually the two groups merged together to become what we know of as the Hawaiian race, and all that early history went down right here. So as we work our way to the... Now of course they're really hard to spot because the cliffs are getting really big. It's hard to tell how big they are. There's nothing to compare them to for reference, but they're approaching 4,000 feet here. You'll see these vertical veins of rock running through the cliffs here and there. These are igneous intrusions or lava dikes. Now to understand what those are all about, picture how the island used to be a lot bigger than what we're seeing here today. It used to extend many miles out to our left. And during that time, pressure would build within the volcano before an eruption. It would form fractures, and the fractures filled with molten rock. So that's what you're seeing there, are these molten rock filled fractures. The rock cooled very slowly under intense pressure, resulting in the veins that work like rebar. They're a lot harder rock than the surrounding rock, so they kind of hold up various spires and pinnacles high up in the cliff face. Now you guys that are right up against the rail on the starboard side, you might already see in the cave here. This is the open ceiling sea cave. I'll try to position the boat a bit so you guys further in the back can see. Open ceiling sea cave had its ceiling collapse in, resulting in a skylight overhead. The light filters in and gives you that nice sight all the way to the back of the cave. It's very unique along the coast. There's really no other spot like it. Mary J. Blige did a video here. The song was called Everything. Yeah, she stood on the rock in the middle of the cave with high heels, singing. Amazing. And then Baywatch, David Hasselhoff, they did a rescue scene right here. All the white stuff at the entrance of the cave, it's the brown booty bird roost. There's a booty bird just coasted off. It's a fairly common seabird that we have that is a deep diving seabird. They just go get their own fish from down 10, 20 feet in the water. They dive down and catch them. So they roost right on various spots along the cliffs here. Another waterfall. And this one, if you trace the flow up into the cliff, you might see it, the flow coming down various parts of the cliff there. It originates from a freshwater spring halfway up the cliff face. A lot of the streams that meet the ocean out here on the Macaulay are formed by springs at the backs of these various valleys that they flow out of. Kind of rare for the water to flow right off the top of the mountain cliff, although that does happen, especially in the rainy days and you get the flash floods. There's can be a little bit more waterfall activity as you get rained on out here. But this is kind of what you see when it's all formulated by the spring-fed flow. This is Honapu Valley. Honapu has a really unique history along all these valleys. But this is where the early Hawaiian royalty, or elite, this is where they were buried. You know, because these early people believed that their chiefs or the royalty had power of the gods that resided in the bones of the chief after he had passed away. And so they wanted to protect that power and do the burial of these chiefs in these remote locations like these cliffs here. One person would be selected to perform the burial. He would have the bones and he'd rappel down with ropes from the ridge tops, and he'd hang along the face of the cliffs. He'd look for nooks and crannies, tuck the bones away, and then when he was done hiding the bones, burying them, he was the only person who knew where they laid. So the volunteer at that point would then cut his own rope that he hung by. He would fall to his death into the valley here. So a pretty incredible history in this particular spot. Because of that history, there's restricted use for recreation of this area out of respect for it being a chief burial ground. No camping, for instance. But Hollywood has managed to get some permits to film out here. They love this archway. Look all the way to the right of the sands. You can see the 90-foot archway connects together the two beaches of Honapu. That archway is taller than our mast right now. Our mast is 80 feet off the water, and the arch is 90 feet. I know it doesn't look that big, but that's just one of the little puzzles of the coastline. It's only when you get people walking around on the beach that you can kind of tell the size of things. The home of the dinosaurs was this view of Kauai's cathedrals. Okay, gang. Now I know we got Paul setting up the main. We're going to raise the main here and then do a little sailing. And Connor and Paul are going to get the main up. We've got Elijah just finishing up the salad for dinner, but as soon as he's done, he's going to start bringing drinks around and see who wants an adult beverage. The adult beverage bar will be open. We have beer, wine, sneaky tikis. Got the beer options. There's Longboard Lager, Coors Light. We've got 4 different wine varietals, so we've got options for you. Pinot Grigio and Chardonnay. You have Pinot Noir and Cabernet. And finally, we've got our signature Captain Andy's cocktail, which is the Sneaky Tiki. That's rum, vodka, gin, tropical fruit juice, dark rum floater. Enjoy. Elijah will be seeing you shortly with all those. Around with drinks, just let them know if you'd like anything.
They were. I don't know where they went. Probably went to the bathroom.
There it is, Dave. I see it.
Oh, there's